Welcome to Following Funnel Force. Super excited to be back with you guys today. My name is Glen Martin, and I do get the honor to host this today with my business partner, Brent Stone. And today is kind of a bonus episode that we're going to dive into. And I'm going to let Brent kick it off, have him say hey, and we're going to dive into some cool stuff.
It's awesome. Hey, thanks, Glenn. I'm excited about today. Why is Brent so excited about today? I will tell you, because today we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, the difference between branding and advertising and why it matters. So just to give you some flavor, give you some good stuff right off the bat. If someone came to you, I'm going to give you a quick analogy. If someone came to you right off the street and said, hey, I've got this brand new Ferrari right here, California turbo, 140 some $1,000 convertible, Ferrari red, really awesome car, and said, hey, we're gonna give it to you. You just have to bring me $50,000 in cash right now. I mean, it's brand new. You're the first owner. We're selling it to you right now for 50 grand. You would do everything in your power to get $50,000 because you understand the value of that car. You could turn around and sell it, make a profit, make $80,000 profit. You could hold it, you could keep it, and you have a Ferrari for 50 grand. But why is there value attached to it? It's not like you can eat that car. It's not like you can, it's not like you want to live in a California T. I mean, that thing is tiny. Trust me, I had a client that had a yellow one. Thing was sweet, but it's like a jet cockpit. It is tiny. And so what I can tell you about this thing is that, the value because of the branding Ferrari has done. Yeah. Ferrari is a brand, an authoritative brand in the performance driving world because they have the history. They have years and just this heritage, but that's part of the brand. The brand behind Ferrari is what makes it so powerful, and it will allow people to take action and change their behavior based upon understanding the value. And that's the power of branding. If I came to you with a car that you've never heard of before, that cost me $1 million to manufacture, and it can also have a top speed of 190 couple miles per hour, like the California T, still do 0 to 60 in the same time. And I told you, hey, I would like you to pay me $50,000 for this car. I made it, handmade it. And you would be like, no. It doesn't matter if I got in the thing and burned rubber a quarter mile down the street. You'd be like, no, because there's no branding power there. I mean, literally, I could spend $100,000 on ads for my car to sell it at $50,000, and it's worth. Let's just say, I spent $1 million to manufacture that car. It's not worth $1 million because no one's willing to pay $1 million for it. If Ferrari spent $1 million building the Enzo, which they probably spent more in R&D, but let's just say they spent $1 million. The reason why it came out and retailed for around 1.3 million back in early 2000, I don't know, 2008, 2000, I don't know. I'm gonna have car gurus posting comments on here being like, hey, it's 2009, buddy, like whatever, 2006. I don't know, but now they're selling for, if you have one in mint condition, for like 3 times that. It's the brand. Why are there people that collect Ferraris and not? I'm not gonna say a lesser brand because I don't want to get sued by like Hyundai or whatever. But basically, like, people don't go out and collect those. They collect Ferraris, Lamborghini. They collect these branded iconic vehicles. Let's switch it. Let's switch it to something else. Let's switch it to golf. I could go out right now, and if I had a brand new, Michelle just bought me this driver for Father's Day. What's it called? I'm gonna have golf people like throwing up right now because I don't know the name of this brand new driver. It's like what all the guys are using on tour. It's the Stealth, the TaylorMade Stealth. That's what it is. Yeah, and it's got a custom shaft in it. I think all in, like, the thing retails for $1,000 or more or whatever. I mean, the head itself on the stock shaft, I think, is like $700, and then she's talked to one of my best friends, John, who's a golf guru, all this stuff, knows all the things. And basically, if I came to you with this driver still in the shrink wrap, because that's how I received it, in the box, but they installed the custom shaft for me, and the driver had never been hit, right? And I said, hey, I'm going to sell you this driver for $150. It would be like the experience I had earlier this morning where I sold a MacBook Air for $100. You should have saw my inbox. I had people coming out of the woodwork I haven't spoken to in years hitting me up, being like, Brent, hey brother, I want to buy this from you, this and that. I'm like, man, there's like 16 people in front of you. I mean, I would have loved to sell it to them, but like, there's like 16 other people that have to like not come through and pay me for this thing. So like, anyway, but another thing, Apple, the brand, Apple, the Apple computer. If I came up with a computer that I built myself for $100, people were like, dude, I'm not buying a computer from Brent Stone that he built because things going to blow up. That's probably true. But if Apple built the computer and Brent sells it for $100, even though it's a 2012, people we're just like ponying up the cash through DM. Like literally, if it could have gotten any more realistic, people like just to shoot me money through Facebook, it would have happened. Like I don't even know how to explain it. People were just ecstatic about this thing, and I'm like, it's a 2012, but needless to say, it's the brand. It's the power of the brand. So back to my golf analogy, I just gave you the car, gave you a little electronic, technology analogy with Apple. Here, let's do the golf club. That golf club for $150, people would line up just the same way to give me $150 for that thing if it was not hit, if it was brand new. Here's the other thing. Even if I was selling it used, it came out like months ago. It's not even a year old. If I sold it for $150 hit, people would line up and want to buy it.
Yep.
If I took the materials that's in that thing and I used a 3D printer to print ahead and put a custom shaft in it, I couldn't sell that thing for $150. You know why? Because people wouldn't want to mess up their Pro V1 golf balls on a driver that's not branded well, that no one knows anything about. No one would want to chance the money of it being a good club because they know they could just go out and buy something that works good because it's just part of the branding nature. Now, how is branding different from advertising? Because you're thinking to yourself, Brent, well, how do we know about the brand? Because, we've obviously seen it around and all this stuff. Well, advertising is the quote unquote vehicle. It's the delivery system to get the brand in front of you. It's the purchasing of the mediums that are available to get the brand from the manufacturer to the consumer. That's it. Like literally, Super Bowl is a great example. You've got people spending $5 million for a 30-second ad. That's the advertisement. That's not the brand. It's not like they could cook up a brand in 30 seconds and all of a sudden by the end of that 30-second commercial, you're branded. It's not true. Like I'm sure you've probably seen examples over the year. There's companies that have ponied up a ton of cash to do some ads in some really big time events like that. I hope never mind. I'm not even going to go down that road. But here's what I'll tell you. People have spent loads of cash to get in front of people during big events that didn't have a brand established, and they're cooked. Like literally, they blow all their budget on an ad when they don't have anything to like back it up. And so some people might buy. I'm not saying that nobody will buy, but some people will be like, oh, wow, they could afford a commercial during the Super Bowl. Maybe I'll buy that. But most people won't. If Ferrari or TaylorMade golf, like reputable company, like if Apple put an ad in the Super Bowl, everyone's going to see it. And also everyone already knows that they're the authority in a particular space. So it's just really, really good business to understand the difference here. That's why so many people who spend a lot of money on advertising before they have a rock solid brand, they get so frustrated because they run out of money before they make sales. Really, you kind of have to do both at the same time. You have to figure out a way to brand and advertise as you're growing your brand. But branding is, in my opinion, just my opinion, the more important of the two things. Absolutely. If you're trying to sell something, if you are a small business, how do you brand? How do you advertise? There's so many options. And a lot of people are like, well, that's kind of a juvenile question. I mean, I've been in business for 15 years, Brent, and I advertise these ways. How do you brand? And usually at that point, I get mixed answers. When I'm having conversations with people, I get mixed answers. So this is the best way that I could suggest in today's day and age with current technology and things that I've studied and things that I've learned over just the last couple of years. Here's what I can tell you. One of the best ways to establish a brand, and here is a bunch of free value. If you've watched this video up until this point and you're here now, here's one of the best things that I can give to you free of charge. Start a YouTube channel for your business. Let me give you some numbers because people like numbers and they like having statements validated. So Google Google owns YouTube, if you didn't know. So Google, number one search engine on the planet. YouTube is now the second used search engine on the planet, even though it's owned by Google.
Yep.
Funny, but fact. So what's really interesting is that people are going to YouTube almost as much as Google to search things. If you have a business, people should be able to search for things related to your business and you pop up. That's just good business on a search engine, SEO, all that stuff. Well, now the new thing is YouTube. And if you spend some money on some good videos, instead of spending that on like a traditional TV budget, I'm not against TV. I'm not against traditional forms of media. If anyone watching this knows anything about me, they know that I came from traditional marketing. I've got all kinds of marketing in my background. I've also got some traditional media in my background with radio. I used to sell radio advertising. And so what's really interesting, got probably more people calling me right now about my computer that it's already sold, within the first 5 minutes of me posting that earlier today. People still blowing me up. And what I can tell you is that you have to understand, if you're creating stuff to go onto YouTube, you're actually creating, especially if it's good quality, because if it's not good quality, you're kind of creating a lesser version of your brand. You're branding yourself, just not the way you want to be branded. A lot of people don't understand that. And there's this thought process out there where you should just put content out. And I've subscribed to that train of thought before, and I'm getting away from that very quickly the more I learn. But it doesn't mean that you should only put one thing out a year. It just means you have to be willing to invest in good quality stuff so your brand is established, firm, and so you are the authority with what people are searching for. And the good news is with YouTube is that if you put an ad together and you stick it on YouTube and then you have videos that you give value on a regular basis, what ends up happening for people is that they like and follow your channel. They share your channel. You start to become more of a value add point of their day when they're scrolling on their phone. The whole, I forgot the stat, but I think there's like 1 billion videos uploaded a day on YouTube or something crazy. So if you think about that, I mean, there's however many hundreds of billions of videos or trillions. There's a lot. And so if someone's going to take time out of their day to watch your video, shouldn't you give them something worth watching? And now this whole video is not about a YouTube promotion. I promise you that. I'm not getting paid per se to do this promotion for YouTube. It's not even a promotion for YouTube. I'm trying to explain the best way to brand and also simultaneously advertise for people with small budgets, because a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to say, hey, Brent, I'm not running an online business. I have a small local business. Well, here's the thing. YouTube Quarry, when you search things on Google, if you've got a local business and someone's searching for that business in a local area, because Google now owns YouTube as of a couple of years ago, all that data, metadata, scraped into Google in a search query. So your video might pop up. And if people watch that video and see a local business in there, oh, wow, that's where I am. I'm here visiting my kids while they're at college for a football game and in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And your shed company popped up when I was searching for local sheds, because you know what? I have 2 kids here at JMU and they have so much wakeboarding equipment. Well, I'm making this up if you can't tell. We're going to buy some land and we're going to put a shed on it. And I found your shed because I was searching for shed companies in Harrisonburg and your video popped up. And people think that that's crazy and that doesn't happen. I'm telling you right now, I've got a whole book full of examples that I've been reading and studying. It's almost like the textbook on YouTube. And Holy moly. Can I just say, holy moly? It is the best way to basically brand and also advertise your business, because what ends up happening is if you got something that's catchy and people share it, you're not even paying for that. But if you have something that is that good and then you do pay to advertise it further, you become famous essentially very quickly, and then you start to develop people that actually want to watch your stuff if you're giving out content that's valuable. So with that being said, man, I've talked a lot for a really long time. Glenn, is there anything you want to add to all of this marketing versus advertising talk?
I mean, I think this is really good. There's not too much to add. If I was going to just pick one piece out, you mentioned these, if you're a new company and you want, you want new clients and you want business and you're like, my go-to is I need to advertise. Let me start, putting some Facebook ads out there. Let me start running some ads, and voila, my bank account's going to be fat and amazing. And now my business is no longer, broke, and I'm not broke, and everything's good. Well, here's the hard truth. And you already kind of mentioned this. If no one knows you, you can advertise your face off, but you got to be willing to have a ridiculous budget in order to push through that whole phase of no one knows you. Let me build trust. And now, because I've advertised for so long, now people know me and now people buy from me. You think of Ty Lopez. When he started, he was pretty much broke, busted, and disgusted. Like, he was just in a spot where no one knew him, and he raised a ridiculous amount of money. He rented a whole bunch of supercars. He did all these different things. And because he knew how to get attention, he was able to run this ridiculous ad spend budget with all these cars and just, things that would go viral in and of themselves. He just pushed it at a ridiculously high level. And to be honest, he was lucky. Like, there's no other way to say it. He happened to get lucky, and he had something to then sell, and it ended up working out well for him. Many people, they don't have supercars. They don't even have the budget to rent one, let alone five. They don't have the budget to then advertise, $100,000, $200,000. They've got $800 to their name, and they're like, this $800 will turn into 20,000. I know it will. I just need to have a good ad, and I need to turn it on. Every once in a blue moon, you're going to hear a story like this that happens. But in the world today, where there's just so much media, there's so much content, there's so many different options, it's probably not. I see it all the time. People come to me and they're like, Glenn, I want to fill this masterclass, or I want to do this, or I want to do this. And I have this much I want to spend in advertising. I'm like, all right, I can spend the ads. I'll get a lot of great clicks. We'll do all these different things, but you're probably not going to get a client from it. Not to make you feel bad, but nobody knows who you are. You've done nothing up until this point. You've got this many weeks left, and now you're pulling a Hail Mary and saying, let's see what happens. Well, it's probably not going to happen. And that's not to make you feel bad, because you go back to what Brent was talking about. Brand yourselves. For years, you brand yourselves. Organic content, organic outreach, organic, handshakes, if you will, online, all these different things. And you start to become a brand. You start to build happy clients. Now you've got Bob over here, and you've got Daryl over here, and you've got Samuel over here. And these guys know you, and they're telling their friends. You're starting to build a brand. And now when you do some advertising, you got Bob, and he's like a raving fan, and he comments on your ad, and he's like, oh, these guys are amazing. They helped me do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, now a stranger sees that third-party credibility from your ad, and they're like, oh, these guys must be amazing. That is where your advertising really starts to take off. So that's all I would add to it. This is amazing. And yeah, well done. I love it.
No, it's awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, I there's a lot there that was really good. I loved what you said. I will say this about Ty Lopez, and this is really important for people to really hear. I don't know if he was lucky. I think that he saw an opportunity where the market or the ocean wasn't red yet, like Russell Brunson calls red ocean. I think he timed it right.
Yeah.
I don't call it unethical, call it ethical, call it whatever you want. He thought, you know what? People like nice things. I'm going to just spend all the money I got on, renting a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, whatever. I don't even know his exact strategy. Here's what I do know though. I do have some acquaintances and some friends that basically that know him from like years ago before he was who he is today. And man, pretty wild stuff. And there's a lot that could be said about that, but here's the other thing. I think a lot of companies when they time something appropriately and they see an opportunity before there's space has been filled and they can act, that's a big deal. And here's another free tip, if you will, a free nugget that can help you as a business. If you start your channel on YouTube, or even before you start your channel on YouTube, and you go and you search basically what are people searching on YouTube in this industry or in this space, and try to niche down as tight as you can, what you're going to find are some really good opportunities where you can start launching content in that lane for people to search. Because if they're already searching it, and there's some other people out there that are kind of talking about it, but they're not focused on that as their primary thing that they're excited about, those people will get the views before you start launching yours, talking specifically about that thing. And that's going to make someone a lot of money. I feel like that tip right there, that's going to bring someone some dollars. So with that being said, man, Glenn, thank you for just taking time today to do this. This has been awesome. And hopefully you all get some value out of following Funnel Force.